Black Hat is coming to India this October, and the first edition of Black Hat India will be held at Bangalore. In the lead up to the event, we are inviting some of the top minds in cybersecurity to come and have a discussion with us about what is really happening on the ground, the threats, the gaps, and the conversations the industry needs to have. Welcome to the Black Hat India podcast. And today's guest is Prajal Kulkarni, CISO at Groww, India's largest retail stockbroker with over 80 million registered users and more than 12 million active trades. That's a platform where security is critical because it touches people's savings, their investments, their financial futures. Prajal came up through the offensive security world with experience in penetration testing, vulnerability assessment, web application security, before moving into leadership roles at Flipkart and Cleartrip, and eventually into the CISO seat at Groww in 2023. Hello, Prajal, and welcome to our Cyber Leaders podcast series. I would like to begin by diving a little bit into your professional journey. You started in offensive security, pen testing, vulnerability assessment. Most people who go to that route stay technical. What made you want to cross over into security leadership?
First of all, Ayush, thank you so much for having me here.
Great to have you.
Thank you, Black Hat India, as well, to come to India and start this summit. To your question, starting technical, going very deep into something which I love. I think all of us started somewhere, and most
Yeah.
of us were pure technical folks, right?
Right.
Picking up a subject, trying to master that, being SMEs in that. I also started something on the same lines. It was security for me. Tried putting my hands in pretty much all areas of security to gather as much as hands-on experience as possible. But at some point of time, you realize that if you really need to make a lot of game-changing security strategic bets in a company, you need that leadership shift. And it happened for me quite organically. It was at some point of my career that I saw that this was needed, and that was a trigger where I thought, let's do this jump and see if I can make a difference.
Account takeover is one of the most common and damaging attacks on investment platforms. Someone loses access to their account and an adversary has access to the entire portfolio. So, what is the defensive stack for that scenario and where are the weak points?
Yeah. Account takeovers are unfortunately one of the most abused security threats today, and it is relevant because a lot of our products that we release in the market has convenience baked into it, like how people log into that application. We want to make it as seamless user experience wise as possible, and because of that, this is an outcome. Account takeover is an outcome of it. The way I look at it, Ayush, is like, you have to build a balance of reactive and proactive security to take care of it. A lot of legacy applications, it's a journey for them to reach a proactive state. But a newer age application, it is much more easier to start baking those security protocols very early in the game. For example, you can have, say, just a mobile number OTP, like log into your application, top it up with something like a device binding, or top it up with something like a MFA on top of it, or maybe a personalized pin. In the most of the UPI apps, you will see an MPIN
Right.
part of it, right? So this kind of reinforces security, proactive security, for the way people log in and see that experience and log into an application. If everything goes bad even after that, then your reactive controls come in, where you kind of build a pipeline of detection very seamlessly and then freeze that account the moment you detect something out of the dark web, right? So I kind of feel a balance is much more easier approach to go about account security.
So, vendors usually outsource to other vendors,
Yeah.
consultants, contractors. Since every vendor is a possible vector, how do you audit with your end supplier in the chain to ensure that they are not an entry point for an attack on your corporate network and IT infrastructure?
um, Supply chain and vendor security haunts me every time I think about it. It's been 16 years for me in the industry, and it is one of the most difficult problems to solve. According to me, if you ask me, like the top three security problems to solve, vendor and supply chain security is one of the top
Right.
on my list. The reason being is because that you do everything to secure your own ecosystem and your own home.
Right.
But the moment some of it goes to a third party ecosystem, that becomes difficult for you to control, because
Right.
that's you don't have any say there, right? The moment your data is shifted out of your home to somewhere else, it's not in your control, it's gone, right? The only thing that you can do is maybe uplift your vendors in getting their security right. So honestly, Ayush, it's not about auditing the nth vendor.
Okay.
It's about making sure you know your critical vendors in the ecosystem,
Okay.
and you tier them. You have tier one vendors where you share the most critical data
Got it.
from your house to, and I call them your extended family.
Got it.
These vendors are like as critical as how you take care of your security within the ecosystem.
Right.
And if you are able to do a better job in uplifting and upgrading their security, it is going to be taking care of a lot of your vendor security problems. And
Okay.
today, we've tried a lot of it with regulations. We've tried a lot of it with what we know of how vendor risk assessment works, and we are still long way. We are still long way there.
Got it. So, what frameworks do you recommend to help uplift vendor security? And how often should you do maybe a security audit or a risk assessment for them?
Yeah. See, again, to my philosophy of getting your tiering of vendors right, going after the T1 vendors in upgrading their security, you kind of build a relation with them over time, right? Some of them will be very collaborative, some of them will be resisting.
Okay.
There are frameworks, there are CISA frameworks, there are NIST frameworks, there are auditing frameworks, but it's just on paper at the moment,
Got it.
right? That's how I look at it. That's how it's been my experience. You can take like a SOC 2 report, you can take like an ISO 27000 report, but honestly, that's security theater for me.
Okay.
There's security engineering and just like security theater, which has their own faces. And for me, real security comes in only when you kind of know your T1 vendors, you collaborate with them, you really understand. In my previous gigs, when I used to take care of like a lot of vendor management security risks, I used to work with them. I used to ask them questions around what is the security team that you have
Got it.
today. Can you introduce me to them, right? And let me talk to them. Um, I used to get on calls with them. I used to understand how they think about security,
Got it.
because we are open to do business with you, but are you open to upgrade your security for us, right? That was the conversation tone that we used to use. And a lot of time we used to realize that the more you talk to them, you can influence better in
Got
how they do security in their ecosystem.
Understood.
So that is my philosophy around.
Do you also maybe recommend red teaming or like actively doing continuous pen testing for the vendors itself?
Yeah, it is recommended. But again, some of them will say we will do it. They will give you reports from VAPT vendors, but again, it's just on paper. It's
Got it.
security theater for me. It's
Understood.
more like how you collaborate with them, and then
Understood.
sometimes even we used to do security assessments for them.
Okay.
Like my team used to do red teaming.
Okay.
My team used to do pen testing. Again, all with NDA signing,
Right.
and that used to kind of help, because we used to understand where our data lies, how the
Yes.
tenantization is there, what kind of encryption protocols they are using,
Right.
what kind of overall processes they have within their security team, right? So it was more like an extended team from security, and you kind of flow your philosophical security principles to that team.
Got it.
So seamless like that, then just taking reports from them and saying, we are secure.
Got it. So 95% of organizations increase their TPRM budgets in 2025, but only 97, but still 97% still got breached through their supply chain.
Yeah.
So where do you see the problem?
Again, the problem is not about finding one bad vendor in your ecosystem.
Okay.
The problem lies in not knowing the vendor ecosystem.
Got it.
Although you fund with like 97% of your TPRM budgets, you will only try and see. I remember back in the day, we used to have security programs where you used to have like a small um, TPRM as a task. That task was basically you do a vendor risk assessment, you take reports from the vendor, you ask a bunch of questions on that, and most of them will be green.
Okay.
The vendors will be sharing you their VAPT reports where they're like super clean. The TPRM questions will be like, they are compliant to every protocol.
Okay.
Again, there will be a breach, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about increasing the vendor coverage. It's about getting your inventory of your vendors right.
Got it.
It is having gating at the right processes within your procurement and your legal pipelines, where you know that every vendor that goes for any sort of procurement, there is a security gate to it. You take approvals and then you go there, right?
Got it.
That way you're solving one thing. Your inventory is foolproof and your tiering layer kind of kicks in, where you can tier your vendors saying, these are my T1 vendors and this is my extended family. And I will take care of it the same way I take care of my security at home.
Right.
So that's how I
Got
look
it.
at it.
So know the vendor landscape well, know how to tier them,
Yeah.
and know your inventory, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, great. How do you deal with this issue of vendor or tool sprawl, especially when different tools do not share threat intelligence?
So I used to have this problem about having 100 tools or different vendors in the ecosystem. The way I used to deal with it is like a lot of tools have now come across like a consolidation view, right? One way to look at it is you have a cut down of your tool budget and look at only the class tool vendors who can solve, say, 3 problems, but 2 of them they have solved very beautifully, and let one problem will organically solved over course of time. So that way you have a way to consolidate the vendor tool ecosystem and you deal with only a smaller subset, right? So tool sprawling there is gonna be controlled.
Okay.
A lot of vendors kind of deal with data that they don't tell you that they deal with.
Okay.
But then in the backend, they take your data and then they massage and crunch that
Okay.
data. That is another aspect that you have to have very much transparency with your business. And the business has to be very vocal about it with the vendor that you have to have legal documents to cover all of this. And if there is transparency there, I think security also kind of overlays and comes across.
Got it. Okay. Now coming to shadow AI. So shadow AI is becoming a new challenge for TPRM. So most TPRM programs do not even consider nth party AI use in their assessments.
Yeah.
And many times even the vendor is not aware of how the AI is using the data, where it is going. So how should an organization handle this new blind spot?
One is transparency. Again, going back to the previous question, if the vendor is eager to do business with the company, he should be transparent about what kind of AI roadmap he has, right? A lot of tools will end up doing it. AI will be part of their roadmap. They will have some sort of a feature to have productivity gains, insight view, all of that. But then they should be more proactive about that this is something is part of their roadmap, and
Right.
transparently they should disclose it in their documents. Similarly, the TPRM process that we should have a AI checklist as well as part of it.
Right.
Because today you have vendors, and if they have capabilities around, say, AI insights or whatever, that data is today going out of your ecosystem. A
Right.
lot of the laws that are coming in India will require that data retention view as well.
Right.
Right? I think in that aspects, vendors should be transparent about if there is any feature of that sort that will be baked in, and your TPRM process can then follow.
Okay, great. So you went from a hands-on senior security role to CISO. A lot of people who make that transition underestimate how much of the job is organizational, building teams, managing up, navigating politics. So what's the part of CISO leadership that nobody tells you about until you're in it?
Yeah. So it was also very organic for me.
Right.
As I said earlier, there was an inflection point where you realize if you have to make any security strategic changes,
Right.
then you need to change your ways of looking at things. And for me, it was very organic that let's do a leadership role and figure out if I can change that. Um, And it has been a lot of learnings in the last 3-4 years. One is I've not been exposed to people management. I was not exposed to how influencing the ecosystem works at scale. And in the last 3-4 years, I've been able to learn those things. It does change you a bit, the way you think about security, the way you try to change things within an organization. These are some of the learnings that you kind of bake into in the journey. There are places that you falter, but those learnings kind of help you be a better security expert
Right.
in the process. And it was very organic for me. It worked out, and I was able to you know learn very quickly.
So, Black Hat India is coming to Bangalore, bringing the global Black Hat community to a market with some of the most sophisticated fintech infrastructure in the world and also the highest rates of digital fraud. What conversations do you think need to happen at an event like this that aren't happening anywhere else?
I think first of all, Black Hat India coming to India itself is amazing, and lot of security professionals getting an opportunity to be part of it. This itself is a game changer at the moment.
Okay.
I remember in all my 16 years, when I started security, I used to have a dream about just joining one of those training sessions or going to Black Hat US, Black Hat Singapore.
Yeah.
Now Black Hat is coming to India. I think it's it's more good for the country than Black Hat itself. This will help the country grow security mindset better.
Right.
And whatever conversations, whatever talks that happen as part of that, they'll just help the entire ecosystem better the overall security thought process.
Right. Who in the Indian security community do you think needs to be in the room at Black Hat India? And what do you think they should take away?
I hope everybody is there.
Okay.
And more than the Indian security ecosystem, I feel we should focus a lot on universities and colleges,
Right.
because I feel that's where the opportunity lies, right? A lot of Indian universities and colleges, if they try and have this curriculum about security, cybersecurity, uh, we will build the next set of security engineers in the country.
Right.
And if students are there in the conference, it will just help everybody, in the overall space of security.
Right. So we do have a thriving community of both offensive and defensive cybersecurity experts coming up in India. Lots of students coming up with brilliant research, developing open source tools. And we are hoping to promote all of those communities at our Black Hat India event and help them in their growth and their journey in terms of their professional journey as well as on the technical side. If you could put one problem, one thing that Indian security practitioners are not solving fast enough on the agenda for Black Hat India, what would it be?
Um, I think I always think about bridging the culture part of security
Okay.
within the company. We come from, as you also stated, most of us come from pure tech cybersecurity backgrounds, right? Um, we always see security and tech going hand in hand, but there's always a bridge
Right.
which kind of helps us get everybody in the ecosystem aligned towards cybersecurity. I think that is one area I would love to see,
Right.
emerge very well, is how people learn to bridge that gap.
Got it. An event like this will not just help you from a technical perspective, but also will help you connect to other people
Exactly.
in the community and build your network. And now you're responsible for protecting the financial data and investments of tens of millions of Indians. So, what does that weight feel like? And what keeps you in this work?
Honestly, you know, I don't see that weight in the same lens as others see it, because a lot of that weight is taken care by people who work with me.
Okay.
And their caliber and their expertise is, some of them are much more smarter than what I bring on the table.
Okay.
I'm fortunate in a way to work with some of the smartest minds of security, and that way I feel they balance it out. and everyone comes together to save
Sure.
security in some way.
Yeah, and I've also heard a lot of the same being said about you as well.
Thank
So I think it was great having you here today. So 80 million users, one CISO, a lot of attack surface. That's Prajal Kulkarni's world. And exactly the kind of real world security challenges that Black Hat India exists to dig into. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your candid insights with us.
Thank you, Ayush.
Black Hat India is happening from October 27th to 30th at Sheraton Grand Hotel in Bangalore. 4 days of Arsenal briefing, trainings, summit, and business hall for the people who actually are doing this work: cybersecurity practitioners, researchers, and cybersecurity leaders who are looking for more than just a keynote and a vendor hall. You can find details and registration at blackhat-india.com. See you in Bangalore for Black Hat India.